Hi ka-learners! Welcome to another episode. From our previous lesson, we learned what the requisites of marriage are. Let us assume that based on those, you are already qualified to get married. Does this mean you are ready for marriage? Not exactly. Meeting the requirements set by the law and by the religion or tribe where you belong is just one consideration. What's equally important is for you to realize the value of marriage as a lifelong commitment. After this lesson, you should be able to, number 1, identify the things that has to be considered before getting married. Number 2, identify the things that should be expected in marriage. Number 3, explain the ingredients of a successful marriage. And number 4, identify considerations to take when planning for a wedding. We have differences with our friends. We have differences with the people around us. Therefore, it is highly possible for us to have differences with the marriage partner that we will choose. Here are some of the differences you may need to consider if you are planning to get married. Think of how you will adjust to these differences if in case you encounter them. Number 1, social and financial differences. Social and financial difference refers to the difference in status between a couple, whether they come from a rich, poor, or middle-class family. These differences sometimes results in quarrels between couples. For example, if the husband's social standing and economic status is far below his wife's, he may feel insecure. Number 2, age. They say that age does not matter. Well, sometimes it does. It really depends on how the couple adjusts to their age difference. Many times, the age of the person determines his or her maturity. For example, a 40-year-old man who marries a 22-year-old woman should be ready to understand his wife if, in case, the wife seems to be not yet ready to give up some of the things that she used to enjoy when she was still single. Number 3, religion. The difference in religious beliefs may cause some problems, especially when the couple starts raising their children. For example, Muslims and Catholics have differences in beliefs and values. The question that the couple will face is whether to raise their children according to Catholic beliefs or according to Muslim beliefs. Before getting engaged, we must be ready to accept and adjust to a new life. If you feel you are ready, we will now talk about what to look forward to in a marriage. There are a number of things that you can expect to find in a marriage. Number 1, look forward to a lifetime commitment, a commitment filled with both joys and pains. Marriage is all about committing yourself to another person and to your relationship with that person. Realize that when you commit yourself, you are making a promise to be with your partner no matter what, to stick it out with him or her for as long as you both live. Number 2, look forward to parenthood. Parenthood is a great responsibility. It is a status which you achieve once the wife becomes pregnant. You need to consider whether you are physically and emotionally ready for parenthood. If you are a woman, you have to understand that motherhood is a demanding responsibility. The would-be mother has to be physically and mentally healthy so she could give birth to a strong child and afterwards stand the rigors of caring for a newborn. You have to be ready to give up some of your activities to attend to the needs of the baby at the same time that you also maintain being a good wife to your husband. If you are a man, you also have to understand that fatherhood is a big responsibility. You are no longer just a husband, but a father as well. Being the man in the family, you are expected to be the family's primary means of support. Being a man also does not exempt you from the demands of child rearing. Also, Very importantly, you have to think of the financial aspect of parenthood. The coming of a child means that you have a new list of expenses to deal with. First, there is the cost of giving birth. Then the cost of providing for the child's food, clothing, shelter, recreation, and education. Number 3, look forward to getting along with relatives and in-laws. Once you get married, your family and your partner's family start having a connection. You will automatically be a member of your spouse's family and vice versa. In the Philippines, the extended family system makes adjustments a bit more complex. The traditional closeness of the Filipino clan can be both an advantage and disadvantage. It is an advantage because there will be many relatives willing to help you if you have problems. It is a disadvantage because there will be many relatives who may interfere with your married life. Once you get married, you have to accept your spouse's relatives and in-laws as they are. You must have a positive attitude towards them. Number 4, look forward to managing your own home. Home management involves decision-making. It involves planning, controlling, and evaluating family resources to achieve family goals. If you will get married, you should be ready to make these decisions. These decisions will involve anything from doing household chores to managing family finances. In marriage, you cannot assume that everything will be fine every single day. There will always be a time when you and your partner will disagree. Whether these disagreements will strengthen or weaken your relationship depends on you and your partner. To make a marriage work, you should be ready to, number 1, understand your partner. Remember that each person has his or her own weaknesses. Nobody's perfect. You may have a husband or wife who is sweet and caring and yet is moody. Your partner may have certain values and beliefs, likes and dislikes that you may not agree with, and yet you have to accept him or her. Number 2, care for your partner. Caring means being responsive to the other person's needs. Everyone has many needs. These needs include the need for food, clothing, and shelter, the need for friendship and companionship, the need for physical satisfaction through sex, the need for recognition, and self-fulfillment. If you are going to get married, you should be ready to meet these needs of your partner and consider them as important as your own. Number 3, cooperate with your partner. To make a marriage work, the couple should practice a give and take relationship. For example, you and your partner should mutually agree on the decisions made concerning the family. You should likewise both share in doing the household tasks like child rearing and housekeeping. Number 4, be loyal. A relationship, in order to be secure, should be founded on mutual trust. Trust your partner, and he or she should also trust you. Remember that marriage is a lifetime commitment. When you commit yourself, it should be to someone whom you trust totally. Number 5, form a shared philosophy. Each person has a set of beliefs which make up a person's philosophy in life. This is what gives direction to the couple's everyday activities and even to their personal relationships with other people. If you want to get married, you may have to change a bit or modify some of the beliefs and values that you have been accustomed to so as to form a philosophy that is mutually acceptable to you and to your partner. Number 6, communicate with your partner. Two people cannot live with each other for the rest of their lives without communication. Communication in marriage is meant to achieve mutual adjustment. The differences between two separate personalities with varying needs can be settled without fighting through sensible discussion. You should learn to sit down and talk about issues on which you and your partner disagree to arrive at a compromise. Those who belong to ethnic groups will probably prefer a tribal marriage. The others will have to choose between a church or civil wedding. Both of these, a church wedding or a civil wedding, take time to prepare. But the preparation for a civil wedding is far easier and faster than the preparation for a church wedding. In a civil marriage, you will be required to submit some documents like your birth certificate and undergo a seminar or counseling. It can be quick and easy because what is important is that the couple declare that they accept each other as husband and wife. In a religious marriage, the couple or one of them should be a member of the church under which they will wed. In some churches, you cannot be married unless at least one of you have been baptized and have received confirmation under the church where your wedding will be held. In other churches, the couple are required to be both members of the same church. Wedding ceremonies in the church are also longer because this is done in the form of a mass. After you have decided on what form of marriage you will then have to think of the kind of wedding celebration you will have. In choosing what kind of wedding celebration you will have, consider the activities involved in the wedding and the expenses that are needed for these activities. Here's a table of activities that wedding planning normally will have. You may or may not skip some of the activities depending on the kind of wedding you choose. Decide on the date, style, and budget. Shortlist and decide the number of sponsors you would like to have and inform the sponsors. Coordinate with the church. Decide the motive of your wedding. Prepare and submit the necessary documents for the church. Choose a place for the reception. Make reservations. Pick out a gown or start coordinating with the gown maker. Prepare giveaways. Send out invitations. Finalize reception ceremonies. Coordinate with makeup artists. Confirm attendance of guests. Apart from thinking of all the activities that will be involved in your wedding preparation, you also have to think of the expenses that the wedding celebration may incur. These expenses are outlined below. For wedding preparation, church fees or city hall fees, license fees, or other fees for document processing. For the wedding celebration, photography, video coverage, gown of the bride or suit or barong of the groom, church decorations or flowers, hair and makeup, gowns of secondary sponsors, reception rental, food or catering services, invitations, giveaways, bridal car, wedding cake. After the wedding, expenses for honeymoon. In addition, here are some tips and considerations to think about when scheduling your wedding day. Weekend dates are generally easier for guests to attend. Weekend dates are the most popular for weddings, and since there are only 52 weekends in a year, popular ceremony and location sites book well in advance for weekend dates. Wedding services and professionals also book well in advance. Service professionals like photographers, florists, musicians, and caterers are busier on weekends. Hence, it is easier to hire them on weekdays. Weekend rates may be higher than weekday rates at some locations and for some services. Because wedding suppliers like flower arrangers are not as busy on a weekday, you might get better service during the week. Hotel and travel rates for your honeymoon are likely to vary with the day of the week and the amount of advance notification. If you want a traditional church wedding, your church, mosque, synagogue, or temple may have restrictions on days available for weddings. Is there a possible tie-in with another major family occasion? Sometimes, you can take advantage of family members gathering for a major anniversary, significant birthday, reunion, or other occasion by scheduling your wedding close enough to the event so that those traveling from out of town can make one trip and attend both. For the bride-to-be, if you are able to predict your menstrual cycle well in advance, it is preferable to schedule your wedding such that you avoid having your period at that time. Will you have ample time to notify guests? It can take as much as 6 weeks to get special invitations printed, and they should be mailed 6 weeks ahead of the wedding. If you hope many out-of-town guests will be able to attend, they may need even more time to schedule transportation and make other necessary arrangements. There are differences you need to consider. Among these are social and financial differences, age, religion. Among the things that you have to look forward to in a marriage are a lifetime of commitment, parenthood, getting along with relatives and in-laws, managing your own home. The ingredients of a successful marriage are understanding one's partner, caring for each other's needs, cooperation, the give and take relationship, loyalty and trust, acceptance of a shared philosophy, right communication. When you want to get married, you can choose between a simple or grand wedding celebration. The wedding expenses will depend on what you want to have for your wedding. That was a lot of information, ka-learners. These are very important since getting married is a lifelong commitment. You must consider all of this if you decide to say, I do. Thanks for learning with me today, ka-learners. See you on the next episode of Solar Learning.